Welcome to TSO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Craven. Alright guys, so it's been asked that I deliver my Magicka Warden build for PvP. I'm always a little reluctant to give out PvP builds, but I do understand that players want me to do it, so I'm going to bring you one of my Magicka Warden PvP builds, and this is called the Unbearable Assult build. And I'll just go ahead and get right into it. Okay, we're going to go to the character sheet. On Destro's side, you're going to go ahead and see my max Magicka is at 45,315. Magic recovery is at 1,660. Max health, slightly over 20k. And my spell crit is at 37.9. That's important to remember. We'll be getting into it. Resistance. Base resistance is 19 for spell, 17 for physical. Critical resistance, 2,530. To the left, you'll see I'm allocated at 64 Magicka, and I'm running the Atronach Mundus, and I'm using Witch Mother's Potent Brew. Alright, now, dual wield side. Yes, I'm using the dual wield. We're going to see a couple of changes here. Max Magicka is now at 48,049. Magic recovery slightly went up to 1681. Health remained the same. Spell crit's 41.9. Spell resistance and physical resistance 1614 and still 2530. Alright, now let's go ahead and get into the sets. I'm going to be using Necropotence. No surprise. Along with spinners. I'm going to go down by the piece by piece, explain what's going on here. Alright, so I'm going to be using the Ice Staff of Necropotence. Keep in mind that in the passives for the Warden, when we go all the way down, Piercing Cold, I increase my Magicka and my frost damage. So the frost staff is really nice for the Warden because when I do a heavy attack I can gain a shield, plus I can use its effect, apply the status effect for frost, and it just comes in handy for the Warden. It has a nice CC effect, protection effect. Currently I have precise. I will be going ahead and transmuting this to Nirnhone, but for now it's precise. I don't want crit with this build. Zero. Actually, as little as much as possible. This is an entirely base damage set. It's raw damage. That's what I want. It's unbearable. It's not tolerated. I don't need to worry about their impen. It's just going to, only thing I'm going to be worrying about is their resistance, and I need the penetration just to do that. So what Necropotence does, it's going to go ahead and give me max Magicka, max Magicka, max Magicka. While I have a pet activated, I get more max Magicka. Plain and simple. We have the Sword of Necropotence. It's already transmuted to Nirnhone. Increase, ideal. Spinners. This is Sharpen, transmuted. With return, it's whatever. You can put on whatever enchantment you want. But that is ideal with the Sharpen. Now let's go over the Spinners and why I've decided to do this. On the dual side, I'm double stacked. I don't need it on the Destro. Destro is going to be my defensive bar. This is my offensive side. So it's going to go ahead and give me max Magicka. Max Magicka, it's going to give me spell damage, but this is the big one. Why I'm double stacked on it. It's going to give me extra penetration. So I don't need the Lover Mundus. I already have my penetration. Alright? It's already there. So I'm getting that penetrating value right there. I'm going to be using the Pirate Skeleton's Visage. This isn't heavy. That's ideal. Infused max Magicka. Alright. I'm only using one piece. I'm not using a set. And I'll explain why. A lot of times, a lot of sets, I don't like procs. There's no proc to this build. It's straight offensive and defensive stacked. So I'm stacking the defense, right? I'm using one of the Bone Pirates. Why? Because I'm getting physical and spell resistance. If you want more offense, you can, but survivability becomes an issue in Cyrodiil. So you need survivability. So I need more resistance. It's just that simple. So one piece of Bone Pirates. Robe of Necropotence infused. Max Magicka ideal. I'm going to, like I said, stack the defense. So we're going to go ahead with Lord Warden shoulders. Now keep in mind, this is medium, so I have one medium, one heavy. That's going to give me my Undaunted passive of 6%. So this is impen. Ideal, max Magicka. Once again, all the resistance. I'm going to be using the Spinner Sash. It's transmuted into Impen, Magicka, Ideal. Necropotence, Impen, Max Magicka, Ideal. Breachers of Necropotence, Infuse, Magicka, Ideal. Spinner's Shoes, Magicka, Impen, Ideal. I'm going to be using the Spinner's Necklace, glyphed with spell damage. Another Spinner's Ring, spell damage. I know I need to get this. I ran out of kudos. And then, of course, Ring of Necropotence, spell damage. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the skills. On the primary bar, now this is my offensive bar here, I'm going to be using the Growing Swarm. Okay, so I play to the conflict. There's a lot of Zergs going down. That's what I enjoy. I love being in the thick of heavy battles. So I'm going to use Growing Swarm. Growing Swarm is great because what it does is it applies a dot effect. It's going to deal 24,132 magic damage over 10 seconds. Now here's the kicker. Why I like it in Cyrodiil so much is because it infects more targets. It just keeps reapplying. One cast on a Zerg, set and forget. Plain and simple. They can purge it, and if I see it drop off, I just reapply it to other targets. And I can just basically keep infecting them, keeping the pressure applied. That helps out for my team, for my faction. Screaming Cliff Racer. A lot of people want to go ahead and rag on bird spamming. Now, I will give you guys a heads up here. This isn't really that bad. Like, I never die to this with my sorcerer. You can just shield it. Stamina users, you have to be a little bit more precautious. You got to play line of sight. And you cannot... It's undodgeable. You can block it. Completely undodgeable, but you can also use other defensive tactics to, like, if you're a DK, you know, throw up your resistance, reduce the damage. There's just a lot of different ways. Everybody has an ability that's spammable. Screaming Cliff Racer is the Wardens. You just have to play smart. I know it's a pain in the ass, but hey, it is what it is. Deep Fissure. I like to get, if something comes in close to me, I'm going to use the Deep Fissure. All right, it gives it a stun effect. It hits like a ton of bricks. I enjoy it quite a bit. Now, I'm going to be, before I get into the Blue Betty here, you're going to see I'm going to be using the Guardian's Wraith. Right? Or Wrath. Guardian's Wrath. It's the bear. I'm using the bear on this. A lot of people don't like bear. I love the bear on Magicka Warden. Major reason. I have limited attacks and combos. Now, the bear can die. And it can be unfortunate. When it does, my Necropotence bonus drops off. But this is exactly why I want the Blue Betty. Now, the Blue Betty has multiple applications in this build. If the bear dies, I go ahead, cast it. I maintain the Necropotence. I get a cleanse out of it. Then on top of it, I'm getting Major Sorcery. And I'm getting Magicka Return. So it has a ton of applications for free. Free cost. Just love it, love it, love it. Going back to the Guardian's Wrath here. It has a finisher to it, right? So once I get them down about 25%, I proc it, they're dead. They are frigging dead. If I get them under 25%, they're toast. Now, the bear keeps mauling them. It's great to take out shields with. Problem with Wardens is they bank too much on the Screaming Cliff Racer, and what ends up happening, like a player like me, I just shield it. I don't take damage. I just keep reapplying the shields, hitting my abilities, and I can outlast most Wardens spamming that ability, if that's all they're doing. So the bear comes in handy for me because it's going ahead and applying the pressure in their face while I'm staying at a moderate distance. If they get close, I hit the fissure. But the bear works out really nice. Just keeps applying the pressure. I'm going to be using the Inner Light. Now, I do use this for the Max Magicka. Once again, I don't really care about the crit. It's just there for the Max Magicka and also to pull players out of stealth. Excuse me. Back bar. This is my defensive bar. That's all it is. It's a defensive counter bar. Alright, so I'm going to use Enchanted Growth. This is my burst heal. I get low, pop, and then when I'm in a siege and people are, you know, taking damage in front of me, I can heal them. Also, it applies the Minor Endurance and the Minor Intellect, increasing their stamina and magical recovery. Pretty simple, pretty basic. Leeching Vines, it's a pain in the ass for a lot of players. Why? It goes ahead and the vines heal the target 2,614 health each time they take damage. So the more I take damage, the more I'm getting healed. So this is my burst heal. This is just my healing that, you know, I can just keep applying, so I'm not dying so quick. Also, what it's going ahead and do, it applies the minor lifesteal to the enemies that damage me for 10 seconds, healing me and my allies for 756 health every second when damaging that enemy. So every time they're dealing damage to me, it applies to my party members. So I really like it. Crystal Slab. This is a huge one against snipers. A lot of people want to cry also about lethal injection and snipe. Crystal slabs with this ability, I don't have to worry about it, right? Because it spins a shield of ice around me, absorbing up to 15,394 damage from 3 piercing projectiles. So it's like the DK's wings. So every time they're going ahead and fire, it's going to go ahead and absorb damage, but that's not all. Every time I absorb a projectile, I restore Magicka, and then I also launch an icy bullet back at them, dealing 4,961 frost damage. Yeah, keep firing. Spam it, because people have died to just this ability alone for trying to spam snipe. And I love it. It's just defensive, and it keeps my ass alive. Ice Fortress. Once again, we're going to talk about siege, defense, especially against Nightblades. If you don't have this ability as a warden, you're very prone to Nightblade ambush attacks. This is going to go ahead and give me the major resolve and increasing my physical resistance, and the major ward increasing the spell resistance. I'm also going to gain minor protection, reducing the incoming damage by 8% for 24 seconds. This is going to prevent you from getting 1 to 2 shot death. I'm not saying you can't die. It just reduces the damage so you can survive the initial hit. That's important, because if you die, you're out of the game. Just that simple. Also, we got Birds of Prey. Big deal for the warden here, right? Because it's going to give me the minor berserk, increasing my damage by 8%. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and get major expedition, increasing the movement speed. Now, keep in mind, on the front bar, we have the deep fissure. I have to get within a close proximity to use that. So I don't have a gap closer. So I need to cover the distance in a very short period of time with Magicka. Now, Stamina can use Critical Rush, or if they have the shield, they can use their gap closer there. There's tons of different gap closers, but for the Mag Warden, there's not. So Birds of Prey comes in handy. Major Expedition, get in there. And also I'm going to get the Major Endurance, increasing stamina recovery. But the Minor Berserk is the huge one at 8%. Big time. And of course, since I do have the bear, it has to be on both bars. So here's the deal here, guys. When I go ahead and cast this and cast my wings, and I go back into my skills, my Cliff Racer is almost dealing 14k. I cut that in half, and then I get a 15% damage increase depending on the distance. Yeah, it hurts. If they don't have a shield, they're gonna get burned to death. It's just the way it is. Okay, plain and simple. Okay, but if they have shields, it's not going to be very relevant. So once again, got to keep that bear, got to keep the pressure applied. Let's go ahead and get into the champion system really quick here. Okay, I got 6.17 into Blessed. I'm going to be doing healing, so, I want to go ahead and take advantage of Blessed. But keep in mind, I'm not having any crit. So I'm going to go ahead and allocate Elemental Expert up to 14%. And even though I'm running Penetration Set and I have the Light Armor bonus of 4,884, I still need a little extra pen, especially against tanks. So we take this up to 3,049. Staff Expert, just do light weaves in between, maybe an occasional heavy for the shield, but I'm not really banking on my staff as much as I am my abilities between, all of my offensive tactics. So we just take this 3.44. We take Master at Arms at 23. Once again, I want to go ahead and capitalize it with Master at Arms, but I don't want to suffer too much with the diminishing returns, but I want to keep 75% into the Butcher, because that increases the damage on my light attack, so I can go ahead by 5% by 25 under 25. So I'll hit him with the light and hit the bear, and usually it works out really nice. Thaumaturge, I am using my dots for my Growing Swarm, so we take this at 904. Ironclad, 14.14, resistance 74. We have Hardy and Elemental Defender split at 43. Thick Skin. If you want to take this down to 9 and put more in the Thick Skin, you can. I just didn't do it. Now, I didn't take any in the Bastion because I'm just running the Ice Shield. It just absorbs projectiles. I'm not using any other shielding system on this build with that. But keep with that in mind, I want to amp up my healing receive with a quick recovery because I don't have that much into Bless. So I want to capitalize on the quick recovery a little bit more with the 6.17. If you want to make the adjustments to this, you can do that. Please feel free to. Warlord 904, I'm going to reduce the cost of break freeze, and on top of it, like I said, I'm doing light attacks. So in between my light attacks, I want to go ahead and reduce their Magicka and stamina recovery by 10.15. That's why we're putting 43 into Siphoner. Going over here, I'm not weaving heavy a lot, so I don't need to worry too much about tenacity, but on the chance that I have to recover, I want tenacity at 8.12, Arcanus at 14%, Healthy is at 1208. Coming over, I had some points left over, so I put 2 into Tumbling and 2 into the Shadow Ward, and that is how the build is done. So it's really nice, guys. I really enjoy this build. Necropotence and Spinners, I don't think it's a new concept. I don't go ahead and check a lot of people's builds or whatever have you, but for me, it was just like, I want to stack base damage. I don't want to rely on crit. It was just that simple for me. I want to go complete base, cut through the penetration, and deal uncut raw damage. No procs, no fluff, no crap. Just do or die. And people will hate it. People will not endure it. And people will find it intolerable. And hence, why this is the Unbearable Assault. I'm Mr. Craven. This is the ESO Daily. I want to thank you for watching. And once again and always, have a nice day.